we look at where we are, and there's a book that I'm working on, I was having this conversation with the writer today. What we have to understand is that in this moment in time, we have no choice but to hearken back to Freedom's Journal, March 16th, 1827. We wish to plead our own cause, too long have others spoken for us. But people don't understand, we had thousands of black newspapers opening and closing. A. Philip Randolph launches The Messenger. You have Ida B. Wells Barnett with her newspaper, gets bombed twice. Frederick Douglass, the North Star, Pittsburgh Courier, Chicago Defender. We could go on and on and on. Then you go Negro Digest and Ebony and Jet Magazine, Essence Magazine, Black Enterprise, and we talk about all the different magazines. And then we go BET and Radio One and TV One, and now where we are with digital. What people don't understand is black media today is more scarce today than it was 100 years ago. And so I don't think people really understand. And when I say black media, I am not talking about Negroes talking on YouTube. I'm not talking about somebody going live on Facebook. I'm not talking about somebody who's just chattering away on Twitter or on Threads. I'm talking about folks who are reporting, who are covering stuff. And what we have to recognize is that we are literally in danger when it comes to information, especially when you factor in the massive amounts of misinformation and disinformation being thrown our way and picked up by black people and who are disseminating the exact same thing. Avis, you're muted.
Oh, that is weird.
There you go.
Okay. Oh man, we practiced this. I'm not. Okay.
You're good. No, we hear you. We got you. Go ahead.
Okay, there we go. All right. So what I was suggesting here is that what you laid out at the beginning, though, is that this was not accidental, right? This was very, very targeted over a significant period of time where our media institutions were specifically targeted for elimination. And at the same time, as you've also alluded to, we know that this is a nation that understands the power of, particularly the right understands the power of perpetuating lies, of propaganda, of putting up bots and like letting go thousands of bots that are specifically targeting the Black community. There was research many years ago during the first Trump election, right after that, that showed about how much money was invested in, particularly in collusion with Russia, let's just be clear, that was really about creating these fake accounts that appeared as if they were Black people, that was specifically infiltrating the Black community with misinformation, with disinformation, with information that was really meant to suppress the Black vote. Millions was invested in that, and because of the importance of the Black vote. And so if we don't have our own trusted institutions that can tell our stories in a way that is ethical, in a way that is truthful, in a way that can be trusted, then that leaves the door wide open for all of these other people to enter the fray and mislead our people with lies and with other sorts of disinformation that allows us to be in situations where people get elected that are specifically and targeting for the elimination of everything that was put into place for our interests. It's really a very, very dangerous time if we do not have Black-owned media out here really providing information to people that they can trust.
See, Jelana, this is the thing that I need people watching and listening to understand. It's extremely easy to sit at your kitchen table, to be in your basement, to be in your car, to be in your living room, talking and pontificating about something based upon somebody else's work. Somebody else who actually did reporting, wrote the story, and did all those certain things. It's a lot different when you're actually at the Texas State Capitol, going through the hallways, talking to state legislators, talking to lobbyists, talking to activists, to get a sense of what's happening with a bill and what's going on and how people can be helped or impacted. That's a stark difference. So you could just be sitting here and just talking, but when you're literally on the ground covering, I love these people who always got something to say. Yeah, Roland Martin, we ain't never seen you in the hood. And then I go, when we were in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, covering the black man who was being killed and was there for 3 or 4 days, I'm like, I ain't see y'all there. When we've been on the ground covering elections in Virginia and Georgia, it's amazing how many Negroes talking on YouTube I ain't never seen on the ground. And where we actually are spending time, not in our beds, not in our homes, actually putting in the work 12, 14, 16 hours a day. And what they're trying to do to Georgia Fort, to Don Lemon, to the other journalists, mainstream and independent, they really are trying to make their life so difficult that they want to say to anybody in any other city, don't y'all try to cover, don't come out here, because you're going to face the same fate. That's what this is all about.
It is, and it actually makes me believe that just Reverend Jesse Jackson passing is a prime example of what they're trying to do to the media, to the black media specifically. Jesse Jackson was with Dr. King when he was assassinated. He was with him the day before, and it did not scare him. I mean, he knew he could die, and they'll talk about that later, I'm certain of it, but he kept pushing. It's the same thing we need with black media. And what people don't understand, I believe that black folks are too comfortable. We're too comfortable. We think everything is okay. We think we have access to good information, and we're too lazy to do the homework underneath. And it's sort of like when Eric Garner got murdered, not Eric Garner, can't remember his name. He got killed in Baton Rouge. I wanted to know what was going on there. I bought a plane ticket, went to Baton Rouge, and to see the militarization of law enforcement trying to terrorize people who merely were there to show that it was wrong for what the police did to him. I believe the mainstream media didn't cover it. You know, even me just literally filming the entourage of police cars driving as a show of force. And that is what Georgia Fort and that is what Don Lemon were doing in that church. They are trying to criminalize the First Amendment. The First Amendment is not a crime. Someone's got to tell us what to do and what is going on so that we can make informed decisions about our life. And I'm not at all surprised, Roland, when you literally said at the beginning of this part of this segment that there's more black media, or there's less black media now than there was 100 years ago. You know why I believe that's true? Because 100 years ago, we knew we couldn't depend on the white folks to tell us what we needed to know to stay alive and to move forward. And so we paid attention, and there were people out there who understood.
And in fact, they didn't cover us. And in fact, they didn't even show us. They did. It was just Negro arrested. They didn't use your name. We were invisible. And then when you had those race riots, that was fueled by white media.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying. And right now, again, after segregation, we don't realize how dangerous it is for us. We are so thankful, not necessarily me, that we might can live in a neighborhood with white people, or we might can have a good job, even though it may be one of us and not all of us. And so I understand that, and I think that black media is more important than ever now, because now that some of us have made it to the mountaintop, or at least we think we have, they can take it all away. They can literally kill us. And so I'm not surprised. I'm thankful that Georgia and Don and others like them, that there was a college student I heard who was with Don. I worry about him. Is anybody helping him? Does he have a lawyer? Because we need people who are courageous, who are willing to die for something, who are willing to sacrifice to give us the information as black people that we need to know what's really going on. Because before the smartphone, when the police were doing throwdown guns and killing people and lying on them, there was no transparency. Now there is. And so keep doing what you're doing. And I'm going to say to you right here, Roland, on your show, you have revolutionized independent media. You have, and people are using your model to give us the information that we need. And I will always watch you, and I don't trust CNN and all those other places because they do not tell stories from a context that is important to Black people.
Um, Michael, what happened there? And again, I really need people to understand when we do our jobs. Okay, so let's just take Bishop Barber. They have had action to the U.S. Capitol. They've had moral money to the U.S. Capitol, and there have been times when when we covered their rally in front of the Supreme Court, their plan was to go pray in front on the steps of the Capitol. Well, Speaker Mike Johnson had the Capitol Police keep them off the entire campus. We got the video. We were standing right there. In fact, y'all need to pull it up, and y'all will actually see the conversation with the cops. And it was like, okay, y'all, like 2 or 3 of y'all can come, but not all y'all can come. And their plan was to go into the Capitol Rotunda and pray. Okay? Go into the Capitol Rotunda and pray. That was their plan. And so they purposely kept them away. Now, then they go into the Capitol Rotunda, and what do? They pray. They get arrested praying. Now, they threw the media out. They threw the media out to keep them from covering them praying. It's interesting because the other day, I saw that fool from Detroit, Lorenzo Sewell, put a video on how they're going to have a gathering in the Rotunda, and they're going to pray in the Rotunda and then go across the street to have some event. The Republicans are going to let them pray, and they won't get arrested, but they arrested Bishop Barber and his folk because they were speaking up for poor people. The point there is, if you don't cover the event, then who even knew an event took place? That is the goal of Donald Trump and MAGA. This is not just the United States. This is right here, right now on the New York Times website. Journalists arrested in Cameroon while reporting on Trump's secretive deportation program. An Associated Press reporter was hit and held with 3 other journalists and a lawyer, 2 detainees said, while at a center for migrants secretly deported from the United States. If we do not have a free press who can report on these things, the public will never know because Trump's government will always lie to the people.
Well, Roland, before I answer or comment on your soliloquy, I first want to commend you and the Black Star Network for yesterday's tribute to Reverend Jesse Jackson. It was touching and well deserved. And you gave, obviously, I know you wanted to give more time to it.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. We got an hour tonight and an hour tomorrow and an hour Friday, and we will have an hour every night up through the funeral when they announce it, and we're going to be, of course, there covering everything. So we got it. We gonna do that.
I was just giving you your dap.
We gonna do. There's more we gonna do.
I think the word for what the occupant of the White House is doing is he's challenging the word. He's obviously, capitulation is clearly what is frustrating everyone. And as a Washingtonian, watching the Washington Post, just clearly, forget bend one knee, just basically bow down. Washington Post hasn't been perfect, and as you know, for a former elected official here in D.C., I have certainly my comments about how they treat certain elected officials. But it was still a newspaper that had every right to report on what they wanted to report on after their research. I mean, you have to agree to it. And to watch the new ownership, Jeff Bezos, basically beg to be in the front row at his inaugural And then, so as other people start to see if the Washington Post is bowing down on day one, it is very difficult. And you see what happened the other day, which is obviously disgraceful. If the Washington Post is taking that knee or two knees or bowing, and I'm a smaller reporter, smaller network, independent, even the larger networks are just kind of backing down so quickly. It is, he is challenging the measures and the thresholds of being a bully. And I think he's a paper bully, but nonetheless, he still has, when he has the levers of power that he now controls, that, being, you can make yourself a real bully. And people haven't really come together yet to stand up and say, no one's take the step back. And that includes what's going on with the Netflix bid. And that's the same thing, because Trump would love for the Paramount folks to be able to get CNN and the other entities under that particular umbrella. So this is going to continue until people stand up. Hopefully the stand up happens less than a year from now, come the midterms. It still won't stop him from trying, but it could at least slow him down. But folks, the other word of the day for this guy is courageous. And it's hard to watch some of our institutions take a step back, whether it's universities, networks, law firms, hotels, you name it. They want to be in his good favor.
Folks, so what Michael just said, do this here, okay? If you're angry with what the Washington Post is doing, I'm going to give you two options. Go to my iPad. You need to be subscribing to the Washington Informer, black newspaper, Washington, D.C., and I keep telling y'all, if we don't provide resources to the outlets, then they can't, no, stay there. They can't hire reporters. They can't hire editors. They can't hire photographers and videographers. Also, subscribe to the Washington to the Afro-American. They cover Baltimore, D.C., Prince George's County. You can subscribe to their newsletter. And the thing about this here, so you see right here, the Afro has their donate page on here. They've got their subscribe button on here as well. The Washington Informer, they've got their support button right here as well. I'm seeing here, I don't see, Denise, where's y'all subscribe button? Maybe that is the donate button, so the support button, but they also have their newsletters. And this is the thing I need our people to understand. I'm sick. I can't listen to black people tell me again, man, we need this and we need that. Man, it sure be nice if we had this, and if we had that, we cover that. If you don't support what Georgia Fort is doing, if you don't support what she's doing, then she can't continue to report. She can't continue to feed her family. She can't continue to do the work. And that's what I'm always trying to tell people. This is her website, Building the Future News. And so if you go to her site, and so you see right here, you got a support button right here. This is how you can make a contribution. I keep telling our folks that. This stuff does not happen just because. It doesn't happen just because. When you go out to Minneapolis, or you go to Charlotte or Houston or Dallas, if you're local, when you go out, you've got a videographer, you've got gas, you got food, you got per diem, you got salary, you got all this sort of stuff like that. All those things. You got to buy insurance. You got to buy insurance in case you get sued. You got legal fees. And so it drives me crazy when I hear a lot of our people go, if the black entertainers and if the black athletes would just give, no, if you are waiting on the black entertainers and the black athletes to support, your ass will be out of business. Keenan, send me the number. I know it's more than 36,000. It should be approaching 37,000. Y'all, this ain't no lie. We have had more than 36,000 donors to this show since September 4th, 2018, when we launched. I can tell you, out of all of the entertainers and the athletes and the big time black people on Wall Street and the folks who own companies and all the people, oh, brother, keep doing it. Keep speaking for us. Man, you keep doing your thing. You keep going. Man, we need you. We need, we got to have somebody who's telling the truth. Out of all that, that's how many have given in 7 years. 4. If I had to name the black organizations who have supported us in terms of, and I can easily lay out the numbers. Easily lay it out. 2018, NAACP 6,000. 2023-24, National Urban League, total of 80,000. Melanie Campbell's National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, 150,000. Black Voters Matter, 175 or 200,000. Bishop William Barber's Repairs of the Breach, about 200,000. That's in 7 years. I don't think I'm missing anybody. It's a lot of folk. A lot of folk. Hey, can y'all cover this? You do know it costs to travel there. You do know that costs. I mean, I'm trying to tell y'all. The only black organization outside of Repairs of the Breach and Black Voters Matter that has supported us every year, John Hope Bryan's Global Hope Forum, we broadcast from his conference in Atlanta. We've covered that every single year, and they've taken out advertising for us to cover that every year. That's the only one. So 3 organizations have supported this show every year. And when I say support y'all, I gave y'all the number. That means the other organizations, not $1. Now, I got way more pats on the back and way more as we praying for y'all. Way more, man, brother, keep doing it. I see you laughing, Ava. Anything else, that's my whole point. What do I always say? Jelana, you're a politician. You know, Jelana, we praying for you. You're like, I appreciate that, but I can't pay for yard signs with your prayers. I need your tithes and offerings. This is what, Michael, you were on the DNC Finance Committee. Folks can sit here and say, Mike, man, we need more black candidates. We got to fund them. Advertising ain't free. I mean, this is what I'm trying to get out to understand. The moment that we are living in right now, the moment we're living in, and Jelana, you understand it, Avis, you understand it, Michael, you understand it, the moment we're living in, and let me be real clear to everybody who's watching, do y'all understand? I'm going to just do some math. Do y'all understand what would happen if 2,000 people said, we're going to send Georgia Fort's group $50 each? They're going to raise $100,000. That is life-altering for a small media independent company. Yo, altering. What do I say here? If 20,000 of our fans contribute on average $50 each a year, which comes out to $4.19 a month. So I want to understand, we spend more than that for a large drink. We spend more than that on a Happy Meal, more than that on a 3-piece from Popeyes. $4.19 a month. Literally, that raises $1 million for the show, which allows us to now be able to go cover stuff. Because we ain't getting money from the advertising agencies or the brands. Very few brands are supporting us in that way. And so we cannot sit here and say, oh man, we need people covering this stuff. You can't say it's a damn shame what happened to Georgia if you ain't supporting. Don got arrested. Other people out there who are creating shows and companies. Y'all, I purposely what it says freedom. But freedom ain't free. Freedom ain't free. So we have to understand that if we are going to inform the masses, if we need to be able to say what's happening in Minneapolis, let's call Georgia, get her on the air. Georgia has to be supported what's happening there. If we need to know what's happening in this city, who's the local black newspaper or the digital outlet? Oh, so what's happening in Chicago? Call a sister at the Tribe. Oh, what's happening? Oh, Gary, call Capital B. What's happening? Y'all, that's how this works. But what we cannot have are black. Listen, I ain't got no problem saying what I'm about to tell y'all. See, if we gonna be truthful, we gonna be truthful. In the 7 years we have done this show, the 7 years we've done this show, not $1 has come to us from the Congressional Black, the CBC PAC, the CBC Institute.
Wow.
We've covered a whole lot of CBC stuff. We've covered a whole lot of CBC news conferences. The CBC has called me, hey, can you come down here to cover this event? Can you cover this? Can you cover this?
Tell the truth and shame the devil.
I just want folk to understand that we cannot survive and thrive on black people saying, great job, bro, you doing it. Man, way to go. And when I say y'all no support, I'm not saying, well, they didn't give us 100,000. They didn't give us 50,000. They didn't give us, no, not a dollar. Not a dollar. But want us to cover stuff. So all I'm saying, if you're out there saying, man, we want this thing to happen, we need our people, we need news being covered, what you gonna do? It's more than 3,000 of y'all right now on YouTube, on Facebook, on the app. How many of y'all watching also support this show? Or how many of y'all right now are freeloading in the chat? I'm gonna end this with this here. My mama's sister, Aunt Betty Kirkendall. Aunt Betty died, if I'm correct, 2020. My Aunt Betty told her daughter, Sharonda, you got to promise me one thing. You are going to send my $50 to Roland every year after I die. Every year, my cousin Sharonda sends me a text saying, I sent my mama $50. Now, how can somebody who's been deceased for 6 years this year support this? And a whole bunch of folk commenting right now in the YouTube channel ain't sent a dollar. Black media, black businesses, black educators, HBCUs, nonprofits, the entire black ecosystem cannot survive with the vicious attacks that we are seeing from Donald Trump, MAGA, the Supreme Court, if black people are unwilling to support one another. That's what Dr. King said on April 3rd, 1968, when he said at the sermon at Mason Temple, black people, he said, black people individually are poor, but collectively, black people represent one of the largest economies in the world. And we talk all the time. What's the number, Michael? Is it 1.5 trillion? Something like that? Our spending power? Is that what it is? Is that the number? Is that the
That's
number?
good, Avis.
Is that the number, Jolanda? Is that what it is, Avis?
I know
Yeah.
Avis has that number.
So that's what we hear. That's the number we always throw out, 1.5. I just want to show y'all. I just want to show y'all GDP by country. So if the spending power of black people is 1.5 trillion, if let's just say we agree that's the number, that means that black people alone represents, we are tied with Turkey as the 16th largest economy in the world. I'm about to mess y'all up. The GDP of Saudi Arabia is 1.27 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
So Roland, I see it's 2.1 trillion in 2026.
So 2026, our spending power is that. Hey, I saw Mark Morial there for a second. I know he's coming up with Reverend Jackson. Bring him back. If it's 2.1 trillion, that means that we will be our spending power is bigger than that of Spain, Mexico, South Korea, Australia, Turkey, Indonesia, the Netherlands, Saudi Arabia. We can keep, look at this here. Poland, Switzerland, Taiwan, Belgium, Ireland, Argentina, Sweden, Israel, Singapore, United Arab Emirates, Austria, Thailand, Norway, Philippines, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Denmark, Colombia, Hong Kong, South Africa, Romania, Pakistan, the Czech Republic, Iran, Egypt, Chile, Portugal, Peru, Finland, Kazakhstan, Algeria, Nigeria, Greece, Iraq, New Zealand, Hungary, Qatar, Ukraine. The issue is not the resources that we earn. The issue is how we spend.